Hello, my name is Irvin A. Sheeler Sr., and I want to tell you about Ben Quick, or Ben Davidson. He was a friend of mine. We worked together at General Motors for many years. Although he worked mostly night shift, I worked day shift. We often saw each other, and then sometime we'd meet up on weekends and stop at a bar and have a drink. I mean, we weren't drinkers or drinkers, just that most of the people that we knew, or the drinkers would meet at a bar like Rags or Frida's or the Tiki Lounge or someplace. But anyway, Ben was a good worker. He was, I'm not just saying that, just that he was a good worker. He was really a good worker. He was happy to be working with General Motors, as I was, because we knew that we both wanted a house, we wanted a new car, and we wanted our family, to have a good life. And that's what we got out of there. And I think we were both very happy to be working for General Motors. And often when we would stop and talk, we'd, tell how we were doing, and the overtime that we'd be making, and the pay was good, and it was just like happy times. And it was something that you probably had dreamed about or thought that you would like to have, and we got it. And it was just a good thing. And I remember him, he was, outright happy about it, as I was, and we always kept a firm foot on the ground, and we were steady workers, and I'm just glad that we made it, and that he was a friend of mine and I was a friend of his. And basically, that's the most that I can tell you.
I like to say that a lot of my memories about Ben was either when we was just sitting around the table having a meal, or out in the backyard barbecuing, and you would reminisce on some of the things he did in his youth, and tell me about some of his life experiences, and a lot of things he really enjoyed doing. And I would really enjoy when he was watching a football game. He would get into it. He would enjoy it so much. I'm going to miss that. I didn't get a whole lot of time to spend with him, because usually when I was there, I'm there for a day or two, and that's usually maybe once, maybe twice a year. But I would speak to him on the phone and just listen to him and just enjoy talking with him, because he always had something good to say, or a good piece of advice, something that will stick with me. And I really appreciate all that from him.
My recollections of Ben are mostly Ben outside working all day, every day in the summertime. He had the most beautiful yard, and the grass is just like a carpet. You just want to lay down on it and go to sleep. His garden, his vegetable garden, was really nice. He did that every year until the last couple of years. And we all would benefit from that, because we got something out of there, some greens or some tomatoes or some squash. And Joyce tries to keep that going a little bit with her buckets of tomato plants, which we get some of them too. One of my other recollections of Ben is always at family functions. He was always there, always dressed real sharp, and always ready to eat, and full of conversation. Now, mind you, most of the conversation was his, but we sit there and listen. And Ben always said the prayer before we eat. And we would all kind of look at each other, because first he'd give a speech, and then he'd say a 10-minute prayer. And when we thought he was finished, he said a few more things. So it was kind of like a joke. It was kind of funny, but he did an excellent job. Excellent job with everything that he did do. And other than that, I didn't spend a lot of time with Ben. I don't know a whole lot of his habits. But those times that we spent together then were quite enjoyable. He was always around our family affairs and always had a smile on his face. We shall miss him.
I wanted to speak on my brother-in-law, Ben Davidson. Most of our interactions were primarily at family functions, because Ben Ben could be the life of the party. He always had a good conversation, especially if it was some sports involved with the Browns. Man, he loved him some Browns and watching TV at family functions. We'd always, if it was a Sunday, we'd always make sure that the game was on. You know, dinner time was always around football game time. So we had to have the game on for Ben to be comfortable. And that was cool with everybody. I know he showed me a few things too, because he kept his yard immaculate, and that was a big yard. Ben was a little bit more kind-hearted than me, because he had issues with the groundhogs in his garden and rabbits and things. And where he lived, him and my sister, you know, I said, Ben, I solved my groundhog problems with a 22. And he laughed and said, well, you know, I can't do that over here. I said, well, I don't know what kind of traps or poison you can put out there, but the 22 slug through the chest always worked well for me with the groundhog. And, yeah, most of our interactions were at, cause I was still active duty when, he and my sister, when Ben and my sister got married. So I missed that. And they had a very nice wedding from what I've seen. And Ben was good to my sister, and that's the bottom line. She was happy, and that was great. You know, he was a good brother-in-law, and he was a good husband to my sister, and that's what was most important.
Well, there's so many memories that I have of Grandpa. Being some of the earlier ones, being in on Grandpa's wedding, being a flower girl with Keontre. Grandpa was so sweet. He loved my grandma so much, and he showed it all the time. All he did was show love. He was very sweet, very compassionate. He loved sports. He loved the Cleveland Indians. He loved LeBron James. Grandpa loved his yard. Every time we would come over there, he'd be out in the yard. He was just very open. We spent almost every summer at their house from our early ages to, I think I was about a teenager. Grandpa, his laugh, I will always remember his laugh. He had such a unique laugh. His laugh made me laugh. He was just a good person. He'll be deeply missed. I'll miss our long conversations. I mean, we talked about everything, from him working at General Motors to when he grew up in the South. He was just a great person. Like I said, full of love and compassion. He loved all of the grandkids. He treated us all the same. Yeah, he'd just be greatly missed. Okay.
Oh, this is Bobby Thomas calling, a good friend of Ben. Me and Ben had been friends for quite a while. And he was a very good fellow. He helped a lot of people that had personal problems like drinking and mental health things, and he really got involved. He ran 2 groups for people who wanted to better themselves, and he was a good man at doing that with the Ebony Lifeline Support Group. He had 1 group in Youngstown and 1 in Warren. The thing about Ben, he was very honest about his sobriety and helping people. When we had family reunions, he would always come over and he'd say, hey Bob, let's me and you go over here and we'll talk. And we'd go over here and we'll talk. And the talking was always positive, nothing negative but positive, because we enjoyed each other. He was quite a good guy. And it was a time that, you know, that he would, after work, go over in Warren at the Urban League, and he would run a group to help people, a self-help group. And he's done that for quite a few years. And the thing about Ben, he knew himself. The saying is, to thyself be honest, to thy own self be true. And he would tell me, he said, Bob, I got a bad temper. You know, I never seen that bad temper. I'm glad I didn't. But anyway, he was a true good friend of mine. And in his days when he was sick in the bed, we would go up and we would have a good talk. We would talk about baseball, football. We never talked negative about any people. We were always talking about sports or what's going on and how things were at General Motors and the benefits that we had. And his love for his wife, Joyce.
Oh, see now, like if we had cornbread on Sunday, she would put a little flour in it.
Make it almost cake-like.
To make it tender like it's soft.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
Ben, it's been a pleasure to know him. What I remember about Ben is the conversations that we have had. It's always been a pleasure. Ben talked to you more than you talk with him. But I can always remember, you know, I think about how he used to call me, you know, Celia, you know this, or he would always talk about his peaches down home when he was growing up and farm and the lifestyle that he had, and he never really experienced any racialness down there. It seemed like he had a carefree life, and it wasn't until he was older that he may have experienced any racial difficulty. But it was always a pleasure to talk with Ben. I remember him when he used to always ask about my sons, and it was just encouraging, you know, that we shared the 12-step, our recovery together, you know, and he would tell me some of his stories, and he would encourage me when I would share my stories, and it was just amazing that we had so much alike. I'm gonna miss my friend. I'm gonna miss our conversation. One of the things that I remember the most about Ben, when he was helping me move, and he had that old blue and white truck, and Mr. Ben had my mattress on the back of his truck. And as usual, Mr. Ben was in a truck just talking away, and we was so engaged in a conversation that the mattress flew off while it was on the freeway. And we didn't realize that the mattress was off until we got off the freeway. And I'm like, Ben, ain't no more mattress. So we had to go back on the freeway and go get the mattress. And as we was pulling up on the spot where the mattress, that luck, you know, it was just about somebody was getting ready to come get the mattress. And I let them know that that was our mattress. And that was a funny time that me and Ben had shared our mattresses on the freeway. So I'm gonna miss my friend. I miss our conversations. I'm gonna miss how he used to call me Celia. You know, Celia, let me tell you this, you know, or, I'm gonna miss, him talking about his garden and planting. I remember him many a times in his yard. He loved his yard. Mr. Ben, the conversations that we've had, I'm gonna miss my friend. I'm gonna miss him, telling me about, you know, the time he met Joyce and how Joyce was working at Timberbrook Center at the time, and he used to come pick her up, and he was kind of leery at first coming out there, you know, but it seemed like Joyce always had a way of working Mr. Ben or calming Mr. Ben down, or they were complete opposite, but I think that's what held them together, because she knew how to handle Mr. Ben. And one of the things about Ben was how of a dapper of a dresser he was, you know. He was a sharp dresser. He was. Mr. Ben always matched. And he was telling me that, you know, his dad had always dressed like that. So him and his brothers always dressed, you know, like that. Even when he was in his blue jeans, he was never raggedy. So Mr. Ben had a way of keeping himself together, you know. I remember one time my ex-husband had said, you know, when I was a member of Friendship, he said, now I know where my money going when I put my ties in. It's keeping you dressed. So that's Mr. Ben. That's Ben.
That's Ben. Just wanted to say, my friend, when I look up, and I know I look up, I know that you up there talking your head off, and you telling somebody something. So I'm going to remember my conversation with my friend, Ben. God bless you, Ben. I love you dearly.